time ago, the wire services and newspapers carried a story out of San Francisco describing the first satanic wedding ceremony ever performed. The pictures showed a nude woman lying on the altar behind the guest, whom you see now, the Reverend Anton Lavey, who is the founder and high priest of the First Church of Satan. Anton Lavey uses as somewhat of a credo this timeless quote: "Remember, evil backwards spells live." Somehow that never occurred to me.
Never occurred to me until one of my disciples brought it forth, and I imagine it's quite true with many of us.
How often do you have to shave your head to make it shiny like a devil?
I have to put Vaseline on it as well to keep it shiny. I shave it once a day. Can I give a plug?
Is that the odor you're giving off now, Vaseline?
No,
Could have fooled me.
That's musk.
That's musk.
That's the goaty scent you smell.
For sure it's not frankincense and myrrh. No. What is this ring you're wearing here? Looks like it's weighing your hand down.
Well, no, it's a magical ring.
It is?
I have little children rub it, make a wish, and it comes true.
Little children come near you?
Of course. Little children and
What kind
animals.
of a wish did that ring ever make come true?
Well, I would say a great many wishes, but we won't go into them.
Now, you call yourself a satanic priest.
Yes.
Is that the opposite of God?
No, because Satan is a god, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, what are you then, the dirty pope, or what?
Oh, I guess you could call me that if you want to say the black pope or the dirty pope or the advocate of, for example, the kingdom of night or darkness. No one's ever come forth so far and spoken up for the devil. Everybody that's made rules and regulations concerning the devil or the devil's work, the devil's activities, have been people that have been very righteous people during crusades, people...
Well, I'm not too righteous, but on the other hand, I think you're a bit of a ding-a-ling, let's face it. Either that, or you're selling some kind of a snake oil. You got very shifty little eyes, right? It's very close together, too. They tell a story about you.
Oh, well, yes, of course.
What is the story that you'd like to tell us?
The story is that I think that the devil has been the guy that's kept the church in business for many, many years. Without him and the concept of evil, where would the church be?
Well, where would Notre Dame be if they couldn't play Southern Methodist? They got to have opposition. Is that the point?
That's right. They have to have opposition.
So you're supplying, what, a loyal opposition?
Well, I'm supplying a much-needed opposition. The word Satan only means adversary, as I said. It's not...
You never use the word devil?
Devils, of course. Devils are God. The original concept of the word devil is taken from a word meaning God.
But this name, Anton Lavey, that's got to be a put-on. That can't be.
No, it's certainly not. When I was a young boy, I was quite embarrassed about what the S stood for in my middle name. Because...
Zandor.
Anybody with a...
S-Z-A-N-D-O-R, right?
Right.
Now, what does that name mean? Does it have any meaning?
Well, it's a very common name in the Balkan countries of Europe, Romania, Hungary. Mm-hmm. It's just like George or Frank would be here.
Now, what country do you come from? Transylvania or what?
Well, not really. My family, part of my family is from Transylvania.
Is it necessary to kill you by driving a stake through your heart, or will just a knock on the head do it?
I will never die.
You won't?
No, of course not. I've made arrangements.
How do you like that? A frozen devil, right? Huh?
That's a good point.
You're going to be frozen.
Now, that's a great thing, I think. Incidentally, this freezing, because I think we all want to live forever. I think basically none of us want to die. We're like little children that are put to bed before we really want to go to bed. And I hate to sound like Goldwater, but in our hearts, none of us really want to die. We all know that death is something. You don't know how many people are going to come to your funeral. You don't know what your wives, your husbands are going to be doing afterwards. People don't want to die because they don't want to miss anything afterwards. And they're afraid for what they're going to be missing.
So are you saying then that you're going to make arrangements to have yourself frozen?
If it's at all possible. If it's not, I'll make other arrangements.
Of course. What do you mean other arrangements?
Well,
let's take the freezing first now. I could just picture this now. About 10 days after you're frozen, some minister is going to tiptoe over and turn off your electricity.
Or bring a blowtorch in.
Yeah. Well, a blowtorch would be make you right at home. What are the other arrangements?
Well, there's another thing. You see, the concept of the devil is a multitude of interpretations. Now, one of the realms of hell, Tartarus, the lowest of all, is supposed to be a very frigid place, like a gigantic refrigerator. This is where Lucifer lives, and there's nothing hot at all about it. On the other hand, the lake of fire that's described in the Bible, was described to Eskimos by Christian missionaries at one time, and they, not having enough heat, all wanted to know, how do we get there? And this is why it never has really done too well up there.
Well, look, Dev, you don't mind if I call you Dev?
Yeah, call me anything you want, as long as it's not obscene.
Were you ever a religious fellow?
I would say not particularly.
You're a young man.
I'm a religious fellow now, though.
How old are you?
I'm 36.
36. Who ordained you a satanic priest?
I would say probably I received the call. Just as any fundamentalist...
Well, most of us do, but we fight it.
Why fight it? This is, of course, the whole principle of my religion, is all of the concepts...
What do you mean you received the call? You mean one day the devil said, go out, Anton Lavey, and give people hell? Huh? Is that what happened?
That's about it. That's about it. Because people like to have a hell of a time, don't they?
Well, of course, there are all kinds of definitions of that.
Well, now...
Now, I don't, to marry two people without a license in front of a naked babe lying up on an altar, I don't know what that is.
Well, seriously, there are explanations for these things. And how I started was as a result of various reverse forms of therapy. I haven't been a satanic priest all my life, as you probably gathered.
You've probably been an inmate part of your life.
Well, an inmate in possibly a pretty big institution.
Is that where you picked up that yo-yo that hangs around your top?
That's not a yo-yo. That's the equivalent of a crucifix.
A crucifix? You mean that's your version?
This is not my version. This has been around for a long, long time. It's just a magical symbol symbolizing the inversion or the opposition or the adversary of the concept that is normally supplied.
Are you going to hook up with any paganistic societies?
I don't know. I imagine paganism is just a euphemism for Satanism. People want to get out and run around in the woods without any clothes and all this sort of thing. I don't feel this is necessary.
Well, you felt it was necessary to make that girl take her clothing off for that wedding.
The girl without clothing...
How did you talk her into that? She must be a nut.
Well, of course, she's not. In fact, I might say that most of the people that are in my group are professional people. They're business people. They're people that are from very responsible walks of life.
I heard that marriage is not even legal.
Well, it might not be, but as far as I'm concerned, it is, because unless they had a piece of paper that said that their blood types were all right and that the...
That was it. They had no blood test.
That's right. But if they had gone to take this blood test, if they had spent $2 on this particular little piece of paper that said a civil ceremony was in order, therefore a religious ceremony could be performed, then of course this would be just as legal. I would have married them, incidentally, if they had come to me with that piece of paper. This was requested of me as a religious ceremony.
But you don't have the authority under law to perform a marriage.
Any minister has the authority under law, under the laws of the Constitution.
But you ordained yourself.
Well, where would I go to a theological seminary that would teach Satanism?
We'll be back with a man from down under, and I don't mean Australia, after these words. Stand by. I understand that, what are you doing?
I'm giving a blessing to the audience.
I don't think they appreciate it. They were throwing it back.
Well, they thought it was a curse. Would you like me to show them how the sign of the curse works?
Sign
Completely
of the curse?
different.
How does it go?
No, not at you people out there in the audience, but this is the difference.
Aim it toward Red China, would you?
This is the sign of the horns. A curse sign, the two fingers extended. This way, spread apart for sort of shotgun blast, you know.
I always
all over,
figured if I ever met the devil, he'd have dirty fingernails. Go on.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Where?
Dirty fingernails.
Well, that's because I've been fooling around with your equipment.
Never mind. Don't blame it on the studio. Go on with it.
All right.
So that's the sign of the horn, and then what happens? Is that it?
Well, there are other ones, too.
Yeah, what are the other ones?
The other ones, one of them's the pox sign. That's 3 fingers extended.
A pox on you?
A pox on you. During the Middle Ages, this was...
Yeah. Oh, yes.
But
You're
originally...
a bad cat.
Well, you have to be bad to be good, don't you?
Is it true that you teach people how to make voodoo dolls and stick pins in them to hurt people?
That's right. I believe that hate is necessary in a controlled way just as much as love is necessary.
But could it really work?
Of course it works. It's been working in primitive societies for a long, long time.
Well, then how come you don't pick out the despots of the world and make dolls like that and stick pins in them so that the... Oh, you want them to win. You want the bad guys to win, right?
Well, I don't say they're necessarily the bad guys or the good guys. It's not up to me because the only people that I would cast a curse or a spell on would be people individually that would sort of get under my skin.
Why are you staring at me like that?
Because after all, hate should be a personalized thing.
Do you hate a lot?
No, not really. I am a pretty flexible person.
The newspaper said you used to play a calliope in a circus.
I played a calliope. I was a wild animal trainer.
You live with a lion at home, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Now, is that just a publicity
No,
story?
he sleeps with me every night in the bedroom.
How much does he weigh?
500 pounds.
Has he been defanged and declawed?
No.
Have you?
He's got full power. No, not yet.
Are you at all afraid that someday, after you get through this big put-on, with your little red yo-yo and your big fat ring and your shiny bald head, that when they do pack you away,
Well, now, wait a
if there's
minute.
any justice, you've got to really get it.